What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Live Button Podcast. This is episode 14. Is it episode 14 right
14.
now?
It is
Is that what we're
14.
doing?
Yeah.
Jeez, oh flips. Listen, I'm joined once again by my beautiful co-host, Dad the Gamer. He is killing the game right now with the TikTok live, streaming on Twitch. He's crushing it, doing absolutely well. But we also have a very special guest for you here today, Samson JC22, the man, the myth, and the legend who lives on top of a mountain with a gaming room and a gym in one. So we're going to talk all about this, his story, how he got here. We got a bunch of questions we're going to be asking him. It should be a fun interview for you guys. So, Dad, did you want to say anything before we get started?
Very, very excited. Him and I, we've been following each other for a little bit, I think. I think over the summertime we started following each other and obviously had many, conversations. I think we're in a Discord group, we chat. But for those that are not following this man, if you are into the fitness space at all, fitness and gaming space, you need to be following him. I'm telling you right now. And if you really look at, and we're going to get into it, if you really look at his content over the last, 6 weeks to 2 months, it is taken off. I think every once in a while I go into his followers and it's just like gone up like exponentially. I'm thousands of followers every single time I look at it. So if you guys are really, this episode I'm excited to talk about. We've talked about it a little bit, but Samson's literally doing it, but building a team around you, the whole merch line, and then obviously blending two niches together. Very, very excited to have you on, man. Welcome onto the podcast.
Yeah, Dad, Pastor, I appreciate you guys so much. I'm excited for this. Like you guys said, the cool thing about this is it's not just something that just spurred upon us, but we've been following each other for quite a while. We've been friends for quite a while. And it's also cool to see what you guys are doing in this space together. And I think that's why I'm most excited is I've been watching this podcast since week one. And I'm just like, dude, this is so cool. So when you guys were like, hey, we'd love to have you on, I was like, I would be honored, And so it's
That's
so
awesome.
cool what you guys are doing. And the pleasure's mine. So thank you guys so much.
For sure, dude.
Yeah,
for sure.
appreciate it.
I think what's really interesting about this whole situation is, and I have a habit, you guys have heard me talk about this in the podcast before, but I have a habit of like when I see a streamer or content creator that I really think is interesting, in my head, I'm like, God, I want to know that person. And that's how I contacted Dad the Gamer. And that's how things started with the podcast and everything. And then the same story a little bit with Samson. I think I was on TikTok first and I saw the gym and I saw the gaming.
The gym, dude.
I said, this guy is living my dreams. I was like, I want to know who this is and I want to see what he's all about. And it was the same thing. I messaged you on Discord, Samson. I was like, hey, man, I want to have a conversation with you. This is insane. Like, I want to know what your life is. I want to know what you're all about. So, Samson, I think the first question that we're going to ask you here tonight is how?
Where did it come from? You get the I know you get that question all the time on TikTok. So here's a chance for you to really get it out there on where the idea come from to have a damn gym on the mountain away from your house where you also game in.
Yes,
absolutely. No, and it's a funny because I was actually going over this in my brain this last week because, like you said, I get that question quite often, and looking back at it, growing up is. Okay, sports has always been a background of mine. So I grew up playing sports, but I also grew up playing video games. Back in the day with Age of Empires and Halo 1 and Halo 2.
Solid games.
Dude, solid games. Still some of my favorite. World of Warcraft. And so through this, it was one of those where, okay, I grew up and then in high school, I really pushed the football thing hard. So I was going to go play D1 football in college. But just due to injuries, concussions, shoulders, things like that, I took a step back and honestly, be completely honest with you guys, fear. Fear drove me away from that decision. And, I even playing video games from an early age. I remember sitting down when I was 12 years old. And I was like, I want to start streaming. But at the time, being at my parents' house, we had AT&T internet, and I got 10 megabit upload speed and 5 megabit download speed. and it was just one of those. I was like, how is this even possible? And they were talking about, okay, upload, download speed, what you need for streaming. So I didn't do it. And it was partially driven by fear too. I was like, what is the internet going to think of me? And so I didn't start it. And so years went by. I was born and raised in Texas in a desert. So completely different from where I am now. And so as I grew up, I started getting into real estate. So immediately after getting out of high school, I went and worked for GNC. The fitness side of things, the nutrition, the supplements, the protein, did that for about 1 to 2 years. It was great. It was a good learning curve. And then I sat there, I said, you know what? I need to kick this up a notch. GNC has been a great initial process, but I want to go do my own thing. So I then franchised my own nutrition stores. And so I had 6 nutrition stores in between Texas and Colorado. And I was kind of bouncing back in between the two and still living at Texas at the time. But then I had 2 stores up in Colorado Springs. And I was like, you know what? I am absolutely loving this area of Colorado Springs.
Mhm.
And so,
Amazing area.
amazing and beautiful. I mean, the mountains, all that jazz. I'm a hunter. I love the outdoors. And so
Sure.
it really resonated with me. And then, I started building homes in Colorado Springs back in 2008. So even previous to that. And so I was already kind of used to going back in between Texas and Colorado. And finally, an opportunity arose, said, okay, do we make the move with the family to Colorado? And again, this was previous to streaming, content creation. So nothing had blossomed at this point. And
Mhm.
I sat down with my wife and before we had kids, and she's like, you know what? I have family business here doing concrete. I don't think this is the right move for us. I said, sweet, got it. I would really love to, but it's not for
Yeah.
us right now.
Sure.
Legit 2 months later, my wife came back to me and she's like, you know what? I have a feeling that we're supposed to be in Colorado. I don't know what it is. I hate the cold, all this. So for me to come and say this to you doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And so she came to me and she said that. I was like, great, let's do this. And so she went and talked to her dad and was like, Dad, this is my 2-week notice. Like, we're going to start packing our bags. And that was on a Friday. And he's like, you know what? Don't even worry about the 2 weeks. Like, go ahead and go do you guys now. And she's like, great. The following Monday, we found out we're pregnant. And so it was just like, it was a blessing, because
That's
she's like, hey,
amazing.
I
timing.
wanted the timing of it all. Exactly. So then we made the progress to Colorado. And as I got up to Colorado, I started blossoming out of my fear area of being intimidated.
Mhm.
And I was like, you know what? I want to start in content creation. So I started an Instagram just in fitness and was doing great with it. Got 1,000, 1,500 followers. But then I shut that account down. And I was like, you know what? This isn't for me. The social media realm isn't for me. But then I kept sitting back and saying, okay, I got to do something.
Yeah.
And at that time, we were in a rental home, so we're not even in the house we're in now. And we found some property up in northern Colorado Springs and stuff. And we closed on it, started building our home, built our home. And I sat back. I was like, all right, I'm tired of being fearful. I'm tired of what people are going to think of me. I want to do me and do essentially what I'm called to do and what I feel confident in.
Sure.
That's fitness / sports and gaming.
Mhm.
And so then that initially, I think it was like 2019-ish realm, I started streaming. And that was my first full year of streaming. And I was enjoying it, having a blast. And then COVID hit.
Sure.
Start of 2020, shut down all my gyms in Colorado. And at that time, I was a year into the streaming thing, was just kind of playing with it, toying with it. And I sat back, I was like, okay, all my gyms are closed. Like, what do I do now?
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, I got to build a gym. So I started working on some plans, started talking to manufacturers in Texas about, okay, guys, I'm looking to build a steel building. And as I progressed through it, I was like, okay, I love fitness and this gym is going to be incorporated into it. Why don't I go ahead and stream in there at the same time?
Yeah.
So it was just one of those that blossomed together. My wife was like, hey, you are so loud and you yell so much when you're on stream. She's like, it would be a blessing if you went far away from the house.
Sure.
And so honestly, up on the hill, it's about 550 to about 600 feet away from our electrical box. So I had to trench a electrical line all the way up the hill, up the mountain and stuff. And so it was cumbersome. But so it wasn't one of those where I planned my entire life where I want a gaming room on top of a mountain. It wasn't quite to that. I knew I wanted to incorporate fitness and gaming, and it was always associated with my life. And so now it's like, okay, I've blended the two together, and now I'm really starting to have fun with it. So it's just / coincidence / it's been part of my life.
Bro, you're living everybody's dream. There's been multiple streams where I get a little louder, right? And I live about a 2,000 square foot single story house, and my wife will text me. She's like, "You're getting loud. You're getting loud."
Okay,
so
can you stop, please?
yeah. Can you just shut the hell up, please? So yeah, that's the dream, right? Everybody gets a chance to maybe maybe be away from the house, and you get whatever your setup wants to be. So that's awesome. What year did you move to Colorado Springs?
2018. So yeah, it was very end of 2018, essentially the beginning of 2019.
We just crossed paths. For everyone listening, you guys know that I'm in the military. I moved out of Colorado Springs. I was stationed at Fort Carson, Colorado, from 2013 to 2017. So we literally just crossed paths. But my wife, we love it. We love it down there, and we always talk. Maybe one day we'll come back there. So maybe one day, right?
Absolutely.
I wanted to talk about you also get this question quite a bit as well. So another chance to clear it up. Your
Absolutely.
internet. Your internet.
Yes.
How do you get internet to all the way up into the space?
Man, I got to tell you that there was a lot of hate on my video
Dude,
too.
I've
So
seen it,
much,
dude.
bro.
Oh
Oh
my.
my goodness.
So to clear the air, I build homes for a living. That's actually my biggest source of income. I do that in 4 different states. So the nice thing is I have connections because we connect fiber and stuff to all the homes.
Mhm.
So I have a buddy that owns the internet company here locally, and I was talking to him. I was like, "Hey, I have had terrible internet my entire life.
Yeah.
I need something. I need
It's time.
something."
It's
And
time for a
so
change.
absolutely. And so I got super lucky with this. The nice thing is my buddy, his warehouse where he works out of is literally 2 miles just north of me. And me being on top mountain, being on top of a hill, I have a direct line of sight to his
Mhm.
warehouse. And he's like, you know what? Let's do this. We're gonna do ubiquity antenna up at your place. And since you have a direct line of sight, we can put a receiver on our end. That way it has this about 2 mile bridge of internet.
Wow.
And honestly, it has been the greatest thing since we're buddies. He set me up a whole server and connection that I am the only one on it. So I don't have to share any
Wow.
wavelengths with
Bro,
anyone.
that's lucky
Nothing.
right there.
Oh, 1 millisecond
Bro,
ping. I mean,
quit
it's
living everyone's dream
All
just
right.
for 2 seconds.
All right,
Like,
we're gonna end this episode now. My jealousy is just overtaking me.
skyrocketing.
I'm streaming on Wi-Fi right now, dude. Like this is
Oh.
ridiculous.
So the struggles of internet growing up. I tell
Oh,
you.
100%.
Yes. Oh my gosh, dude. When we moved into this house, we thought we were gonna have to have Xfinity. And for anyone who knows anything about Comcast, is
Oh.
that in a word, it's horrific. So when we moved in here, I asked one more time, and they were like, "Oh no, actually, like Verizon FiOS is in your area." And I was like, "Oh, thank God." So I have like really, really great internet in the house. It's phenomenal. So I know the importance of having that really good internet speed for uploads, downloads, all the content creation stuff. And the other thing that I was hearing from you, Samson, was that you seem to know your way around the business side of things. You have had franchise stores. You seem to understand the idea, what it is to be a business owner. How is that translating into slowly growing your streaming and your content creation team? And what is that looking like for you?
It, man, it's awesome because I haven't done anything from a business aspect from the streaming quite yet. Like you said, we have merch and things of that nature. The nice thing is, yes, it has been able to allow me to afford maybe an upper step on getting into the content realm because I can take the income from the business realm and apply it to okay, I can buy a nicer computer, I can buy a nicer camera that I use for work, but then multi-use on it now I can use as a webcam.
Sure.
So it's helped with those types of things. Now, also to your point, it's like, okay, from the business aspect, I am using my editor now, and I'm sure we'll get more into
Oh
it,
yeah.
Joel, with double aspect. So he's helping me in the real estate side of things, but also on the streaming side of things and the TikTok and the content creation side. I
Yeah.
am excited to start getting into product, you could
Sure.
say, on content creation instead of just making videos and really monetizing that side of things. Because way back into the day, since I loved fitness, I loved making apparel, and so
Mhm.
that's something that I've wanted to get back into. And so I have notebooks of sketches of logos and things from way back in the day that I really loved and really wanted to aspire to start, but never did. And now I sat down and I with my buddy ever since we were young. I've known my best friend since I was 11, and this is the one that I'm creating the gaming room with. He's a great graphic designer. And I was like, dude, I need to blend this like fitness and gaming together. And
Yeah.
so he went home and he's like, do you like the term games and gains? I was like, dude, that's sick. Like GG,
Yeah.
like good game. Like it just so
Yeah.
many play on words. And so he did two G's, one backwards, one forward to make it look like a controller, and then added weights and buttons in it. Like he sent it to me over no lie. He worked on it for like 20 minutes.
Sure.
I was like, Grayson, I'm sitting here. I feel like you need to work on this longer because something like this is very important, but I don't know how to improve on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks
And
sick, man. From what I like, I saw
appreciate
the
it.
neon lights you have.
Dude,
You
it
know,
looks
I saw
it
a
looks
little
really
sneak
good.
peek of the merch. Like, dude, it is really, really cool how you've kind of branded this thing that merges the two niches that you have and that you really want to be a part of together. And I think like
Mm.
that in general, as somebody who's in content creation and doing TikTok and always telling people to niche down, you can have multiple niches, and that is what it looks like to do it well. Like you're mastering the craft and moving it into the business, which I think is super dope.
Yeah, I want to talk about your merch real quick because
Yeah.
I've said this to a few people who've reached out to me and listen, I got my own merch stuff, but not something that I've pushed extensively on my social media platforms. It's there, and I've really, the people that are in my stream and in my community, those are the people that are like, yo, I'm buying your merch because I love it. But
Sure.
I'm a firm believer, especially when you're very small. Honestly, even medium size, right? Your merch needs to mean something to each individual person, right? So many people just want to slap their logo on merch and say, "Hey, I've got merch," right? That doesn't really give people. They're not like excited about your merch, right? They're not out there like, "Oh my God, I need to go buy this person's merch," because their face is on their merch, right? Nobody cares about your face, right? Nobody cares about your logo, right? I'm gonna be real with it. Nobody cares about your logo, right? But if you can find a way that really, as a community as a whole, they say, "Yo, that's actually cool," right? So for me, I did the Dad Squad, right? So it's as a community, I call my community the Dad Squad, and it's it's a bunch of dads who game, and so I call it a squad. I'm in the military, and for you, obviously, the games and gains that resonates with so many people, right? It's not your face, it's not your logo. No, it's games and gains. That right there, you're reaching people that game, and you're reaching people that do fitness, which is honestly, I mean, if you really think about it, an incredible amount of people. So, bravo to you, man, because if you're out there, you're listening, and you really want to look at somebody who's once again blended the two niches together, but really doing merch right, how they're going to get a lot of traction. Go look at Samson JC's merch line, because that's, in my opinion, that is how it should be done.
I appreciate that. You hit it spot on. Like, you took the words right out of my mouth, because I sit there and in the inception days in the beginning, I was like, oh yeah, Samson JC, cool, all this stuff.
Put my face on a sweatshirt.
Exactly. I started sitting there. I was like, do I wear any clothes? Yeah, I feel attacked. Do I wear any clothes that has another man's name on it or his face? And I was like, no, not besides like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. But even at that, it's a bull.
Yeah.
And I sat there and I was like, people don't know me well enough that saying, hey, I want to wear another dude's name across my chest or across my back. I was like, okay, we got to keep it generic. That way everyone can get on board and be like, you know what? I work out, I games and games. Yeah, I want to hop on this. So you hit it spot on what went through my mind through this.
Yep, that's exactly it.
I had this exact conversation with my mods, because I got a new merch person and I put my stuff up there, whatever, and like 6 months went by, nobody bought anything. And finally, like, I went to my mod channel and I was like, okay, you guys are my mods, you're my closest team. What is wrong with the merch? And they said pretty much the same thing. They were like, hey man, we love you. I'm not going to wear a flaming lion on my chest. I'm not doing it. It's just not interesting to me. So that got me thinking, okay, there's multiple facets to this, because Samson, what you said was you think that it should be broad for everyone to get on board. Okay. And this kind of goes into another conversation of, you make content for viewers, not for streamers, but that's a whole different conversation in of itself. I've moved my design for my merch that's coming out here in the next few weeks to a very minimalistic, like Pastorgainz word. It's got some stuff around it, but it's not the giant lion lifting weights across the entire front of the sweatshirt. And you got to make sure that your merch is inclusive to everybody. And I think that's the biggest thing, is like, people don't want a logo. Unless you're Tim the Tap Man, people don't want the logo on the shirt.
I was just about to say the comments in there, like, oh, I guess Dr. Disrespect and Tim the Tap Man don't matter. Listen, these people have millions of followers. They can do whatever they want with merch, right? Like, whatever you want. If you're honestly even like somebody who just made Twitch partner, you know what I'm saying? Like, even those, if you don't have an audience of a million plus that's going to follow you, do whatever you want, you probably should do something that's going to resonate with your community more than your face on a sweatshirt.
Yeah. So anything for those of you who are wondering, well, what would be good then? Just like Dad was saying, get a phrase, get something about your community, because here's the deal. In the beginning, you're not making your merch for the masses. You're making your merch for the maybe 3 to 7 people that are going to buy it when you first start out, right? To support you in that way. They'll buy it one time and then it'll be done.
Sure.
So figure out something, just like Samson has done, where it's a broad situation that doesn't necessarily, if I saw Samson with a Games and Gains t-shirt
working out at the gym,
Yeah, I would never assume like, oh shoot, like whose streamer's merch are you wearing? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, so it's an all-inclusive thing. And I think that's really, really important. And Sam, so I think you're doing it right, man.
I appreciate that.
100%. I wanted to touch on. You kind of talked briefly about hiring it seems like a full time editor and a full time person that goes around and films for you and your company. What I've noticed a massive,
Massive, dude.
like really honestly, massive view count change from the time that you hired him until now. What has that done for your content?
Oh, dude, it completely transformed. I mean, I love Joel to death, and the crazy thing is we were mutual friends. So he worked for a big YouTuber here locally that has almost about 4 million subscribers, and I'm not trying to talk negative about the YouTuber by any means. He's doing great things.
Sure.
But that area is just such a cutthroat
Yep.
grind type of area.
Sure.
It, like you guys understand. And thankfully it has being a businessman rather than just straight content creation, just kind of a blend of the both. It's allowed me the luxury to say, hey, I'm here to grind. I'm freaking motivated coming from a sports background. Not saying we're going to take it easy, but we're not going to do these 14, 18-hour days that you're experiencing right now.
Yeah.
And one of my really good buddies, he was actually best friends with this guy. And so, I had to throw this pitch to him, took him up to the gym, and I said, Joel, check this out. Here's my vision. We sat up here for a couple hours, just eating, just chilling, talking, all that good stuff. And he kind of went back and he was like, I don't think this is for me. And Joel's kind of shared all this with me.
Sure.
And he's like, I don't think this is for me. And so we kind of, just played it loose for the next couple of weeks. And my buddy, our middleman, Javier, he went to me, he's like, hey, just give it a chance. Just give it a chance. Like the potential here feels endless. And honestly, for me, and I'm not trying to make an excuse here, but like you guys would know, with 3 kids, with running a business in 4 different states, trying to content create, I did not spend enough time and the time it requires to really be engulfed into the content creation realm. I had enough time to stream and spend about 15 to 20 minutes editing a video a day or 2 videos a day, and that's it.
Yeah.
So it has honestly taken it to a whole nother level. And like you guys said, in the beginning, December, when I hired him December 1st, I was at 24,000 followers on TikTok.
Yep.
And right now I'm just about to hit 60,000. So, in 45 days, we've gone from 24 to 60,000. My Instagram was at 1,500. And yesterday I hit 10,000. I was at 1,500 on Christmas.
Unbelievable, dude.
Crazy,
I didn't
dude.
even Instagram was still a social media outlet, dude. That place things like MySpace.
Wild West, bro.
It is.
Gracious.
It's crazy. So I don't want to use the word lifesaver, but when you really have someone that's been in that realm, again, he was working for that YouTuber, so his experience in the content realm was greater than mine. I sat down and I said, Joel, yes, I hired you, but I want you to teach me. I'm all ears. And so we would sit down, and it's opened up a whole new light where on Mondays, we're sitting down and we go through this ideation for 2 hours of just writing down, okay, what are good topics for different videos? And we'll sit there and we'll write down just dozens upon dozens of different ideas. Then we'll say, okay, which ones stick? Which ones have a great hook?
Yep.
Then we'll pull those. And then no lie, I gotta give Joel all credit on this one. He sits down and then he does majority of the script writing. I'll give him ideas like, okay, hey, if we're talking about specs on my computer, I'll have to give him the specs and a little bit of background on them.
Definitely.
Stuff like that. But then he goes in there, his mastermind, he just free flows with it. And that's where I got to give him props. It's just like the dude is gifted. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. Like it feels like 99% him. The dude is gifted. So I love him to death, and he's excited, and he's been like, dude, this has been a game changer. I'm loving watching the inception of something and watching something grow compared to, hey, getting on board with a YouTuber that's already at 3-4 million subs and kind of working from there. He's like, I feel the community base here where the people commenting every single time. I recognize names. He's like, that's cool. I like that. It's something completely different, but I like it.
Yeah, you've dude, it's been, like I said, I was gonna say, the same thing. You were at 24,000 followers, I think, in just a few months ago, and approaching 60K in 45 days. I mean, it's literally incredible, and you can literally look at, I'm not trying to take a dig at you, but you can literally look at like when you hired him
Yeah.
The quality difference between, obviously, you doing it and then him, a professional that does it.
Yes.
Like, you can literally, I mean, I think the first time I looked at one of your videos produced by Joel, I was immediately like, he hired somebody. Like, once again, like, it wasn't a dig at you,
No,
because you know what I'm saying, like, it looked good, right? That's the reason why we and this is, once again, this is a topic we've talked about before, but this is the reason why it's so important to build a team around you, because as good as you can be in a certain area, right, it's never going to be good enough in terms of competing against a professional, somebody that does it for a living, right?
Yep.
Rather that's an editor, rather that's a, like somebody like Joel, right, who going on filming content, whatever it is, it's never going to be that good, because you're never going to be able to put enough time into it to really make a difference in terms of, competing against that, right? Once again, build a team around you, because Samson is literally the perfect example. And for those that are watching and listening, we'll make sure we drop his socials down below. Just go look a couple months ago.
Just check it out, dude.
Go
have
look
your
now.
dreams shattered.
And just basically have your dreams shattered, right? But it goes back, Pastor, we've talked offline all the time. We text now, no big deal. We're got our phone numbers.
We're kind of friends.
BFFs now, no big deal.
Way back, I understand.
But no, he's told me many times, like, dude, like, if you got to hire an editor, I'm saying, take your Twitch money and hire an editor, because you'll be able to save so much time. And I'm very close to doing that. Coming out of the holidays, obviously spend some of my Twitch money there. But my goal really is the next month is to hire an editor and start building that team around me, because when you're starting off small and you start getting a little bit of revenue, a little bit of money, just dump it back into somebody who can help you, rather that's creating TikToks for you, somebody who you can say, hey, you know what, here's 10 clips, dump them for me, here's $200, right? That is worth it, because you can be able to start growing out your TikTok, growing out your social media. And once again, you're still streaming, right? You're still making revenue, but that revenue is just going right back to somebody who can grow your social media platform enough to where now it's just this cycle where you're getting, more revenue, and you're able to hire more people to help you. And obviously, at that point, you're just, it's almost like, this is how I look at Samson. It's almost like inevitable that he's going to be a very large content creator. And I'm not just saying that to like bolster his ego, although I don't think he needs to hear that. But no, I really think that it's inevitable, just because of the past month and a half, that it's proven results, right? So once again, hire a team for you. I'm saying, hire somebody to go do everything for you. Don't take the money from your content creation and your Twitch streaming when you're still really trying to grow. Take that money, hire people. Don't be like me.
Don't be like you, dude. It's really weird too, how like these are relatively small decisions in the grand scheme of things, right? Like, I just had this happen, within the last, I would say 6-7 weeks. And I've told you guys this before on the podcast. I hired a thumbnail editor. Okay. Very, very small thing in the overall grand scheme of YouTube, right? It's just, I know I suck at thumbnails. I don't have the time to sit down and make thumbnails and figure out how to do it. So I hired somebody to do it for me. And guess what? I just had a long form video hit 60,000 views on YouTube in 5 days.
Massive, dude. Long form to hit 60K is incredible.
It is huge.
It is incredible. So I'm sitting here like, okay, I'm watching all of these other people blow up, right? I'm watching all of these things happen, but it's not because all these people blowing up have made massive, grandiose, crazy decisions. You could argue that Samson has all this stuff, so it makes him more popular. But what you can argue is that the work ethic and hard work it goes on behind the scenes is unrivaled. Like the thing I would like to say about the people that we bring on the podcast is like, we have really good work ethic people that behind the scenes are just crushing it day in and day out, regardless of if you hired somebody or not. If you haven't hired anybody, you're working offline to make sure you have all your ducks in a row. I'm looking at the next avenue of somebody that I can hire. Like, do I then sit down and do I hire, because the guy who I have doing my thumbnails also video edits, is like, do I have him do 2 TikToks a week for me, just to kind of take some pressure off of that, so I can be freed up to do some other stuff. It's just very small decisions you make over the course of a long period of time that end up being successful. And I think the big thing that's a huge temptation for a lot of people who get into streaming is buying the next piece of tech, right? And I know anybody here who's listening to this podcast who has seen my TikTok and seen me like do my setup videos on CapCut and make it look super nice, they'll be like, okay, well, yeah, you do the same thing. I do. And I fell into that. And that's my bad.
Yep.
Looking back on it, I really wish I would have saved up and done something the longevity of time rather than just being like, okay, I need a new monitor. I need a new keyboard. I need a new, you know what I mean? Like, so I think making these small decisions to better your brand and your content outside of yourself, and like Dad and Samson are doing and said, building this team around you. Like, I consider my thumbnail artist part of my team for Pastorgainz LLC. Like, that's just part of what we're doing. So as we move forward, it all boils down to how do you then bring more people on board, and not necessarily, you know, being the CEO of your brand and paying all this money to all these people, but how do you slowly over time get more and more people to help you do what you want to accomplish.
Yeah, you know, and you hit it spot on, because there is that temptation. I think all of us have fallen. I mean, I'm sitting here with a freaking glorious keyboard that I didn't need. And so there is this temptation, and you know what I want to emphasize is it's not always going to work on the first time either. You know,
Sure.
I can sit here and say Joel has been an amazing blessing, but he's not the first videographer I've hired. You
Yeah.
know, I have gone through 5 different videographers and video editors. I've gone to Upwork. I've gone to a lot of these third-party websites to say, okay, how can I get linked with videographers? I hired someone within my community that edited my videos, my streams for like the first year, and he did great. It was these stepping stones. And
Mhm.
so that's where you bring up a great point. Is like, you don't need to go out and hire a professional videographer from a YouTuber as your first step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you said, put people around you that are like-minded, that want to succeed just like you, and that have a passion for video editing, content creation, because that is, you can't teach that. You can't teach that motivation, that drive, and the willingness to go further. And it's something that money can't buy either. And so that's where it's like, okay, guys, if you're just starting off, hey, you're making $100 from subs a month. Great. Let's take that $100 and see if there's anyone in the community that's wanting to increase their workload and increase their expertise within that realm, because they're also going to do it a lot less expensive, because they're like, hey, I'm just a beginner. I'm wanting to improve myself. If you're willing to pay me $25 to edit a short form content so I can get better at it also, it's almost like a win-win for both of you. And plus they're connected to your community. So they're like, hey, I just want to do this because I want to feel part of something and a part of the bigger picture, you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
I've definitely heard that.
You guys both like literally said it. I mean, I was thinking about this past week, and Pastor hit on it. Every single person we've had on the podcast, and really, if you look around, every single person. I just did a TikTok on this. I think this past week. Every person that's really having success. It's honestly, it's everything that they're doing behind the scenes, right? When the camera's off and the lights are off, that is when they're winning. All right, doesn't matter how much they're streaming. It's really honestly how much you're putting in behind the effort and or behind the scenes. The TikTok that I'm referring to, and I had a bunch of likes and comments and views on it. The guy, he's a massive Twitch partner. He's got like 2 million followers on TikTok. But he said, while you guys are streaming for 12 hours, I'm streaming for 4 and editing for 6.
I
right?
saw that. Yeah, I saw that one.
Did see that.
That's the exact thing that we're talking about. Is it just. It sucks, you know what I'm saying? Like when I first started this, I was excited to sit down and edit my first video, my first couple video. And now I swear to God, I'm so tired of seeing Adobe Premiere, right? But it's just a necessary evil, right? Now, the $1 million question that probably everyone's thinking, I'd imagine, because I'm thinking it is. So you've grown your TikTok significantly over the last 45 days. You've hired this awesome person, or this awesome team. What has it done for your Twitch stream? What kind of growth have you experienced from your Twitch stream?
Man, it's done numbers. I streamed for 2 years without creating content. So it was just like I would hop on Twitch and stream. And as we all know, and as we all preach, you can't do that. You can't do that.
Yep.
And so the first 2 years was like, hey, I'd hop on, I'd play games, I'd link my Twitch after every League of Legends game, get some really toxic people in there, but I also
League of
created
Legends,
a great.
dude.
Oh, dude, I tell you what,
League's not the most welcoming community in the world. That's so surprising to me. I don't understand.
No, it is. Let me tell you, it's great.
Oh my gosh.
And so, not gonna lie, over this last 6 weeks, it is almost doubled my concurrent average viewers at every single time. So,
Wow.
you know, I was one of those that's like,
insane.
okay, hey, 15-ish average viewers at a time. Over the last several weeks, I'm now at between 25 to 30, and it's just in a matter of weeks. The biggest thing, and Dad, you would be able to speak to this even more, is like the TikTok lives. You know, I just got my TikTok live studio. I haven't quite accessed it quite yet. But dude, just even turning on my phone onto the face cam side of things, these last couple of lives, I've hit, 12,000 live views, 13,000 live views. And it's just my face cam staring at me, talking to people in a very echoey gym. Sure, SM7B does a great job, so you don't hear the echoes as much. But it's just people just sitting there, me just talking with them, and 13,000 people coming through on live views. I mean, it's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now here's I do have a question about this, because if I don't start doing this more, I will get left behind, and then all of you guys will be waving from the Twitch partner hierarchy, looking down at affiliate Pastorgainz here. But here's my question. It seems to be such a shady thing to try and get a TikTok stream key. Why is it so hard to get a TikTok stream key? Why do you have to get a third-party TikTok key? I don't understand it. And anytime you ask anybody about it, they're like, shh, don't stop. Don't stop. I'm like, dude, help a brother out, bro. Like, what is the deal, man?
I want to emphasize on that, because I was the exact same way. This was about a year ago. I was like, why do I not have a TikTok stream key? I have 15,000 followers on TikTok. Why don't I have a stream key? And I saw someone do a TikTok post about it. They're like, go to Carter Pulse, work with him. He'll get you a stream key. I was like, well, this is shady. So I went to his Twitter and I went through it, and I was like, this is a really shady. Why am I having to go through a third-party person? So I started the process actually twice within the last year, and I stopped because I was like, this just doesn't feel right.
I was the same boat, dude.
Bro, and finally he gave it to me last week. I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go all in, because I see Carter Pulse everywhere, and everyone says the exact same thing of, this feels weird, but you have to go through them.
That's
TikTok
what I did, bro.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
What I did. So I might have a key, bro. I don't even know. I got to go back through my messages.
When I went through, dude, I was the same way. When I went through, you're like going through the steps, right? And and you have to like accept things, right? And you're just like, you're like, oh my god, am I getting? Number? Yeah, is my TikTok gonna be here tomorrow? Like, exactly. I'm a little nervous about this, but yeah, I mean, I'm with Samson, man. I mean, I got my stream key probably 2-3 months ago, and I did a couple of streams, but honestly, I was having a lot of bad luck. I was getting banned for suspended for
Dude, every
ridiculous thing. Like I got suspended one time for it said nudity, bro. I was sitting down playing Call of Duty, bro. I was like, what do you mean nudity? Of course,
I don't know what kind of Call of Duty games you're playing, but
no, but like, of course, every time I peeled and I won it, but I got to the point where I was like, man, do I want to risk my TikTok account? So I took a break for a long time, and then I picked it up recently. I've honestly had incredible success on TikTok Live, and I posted a tweet last week, I think it was, and it was I said something along the lines of, you're wrong if you're not. I think, what was it? I said, you're wrong if you're not using TikTok Live to grow your audience. And I got a lot of likes, right? A lot of engagement, but honestly, a lot of the comments were, I would love to if I had 1,000 followers. I was like, oh, damn, I feel like an ass now, because, there's a lot of people that are still trying to grind towards 1,000 followers. So I apologize if you guys seen that tweet. I'm going to probably make a TikTok about it this week, but about how to, get to 1,000 followers. But then, even like Samson said, past 1,000 followers, you think, okay, cool. Where's my TikTok, or I'm sorry, where's my stream key? Well, that's a whole nother process now you have to go through to get a damn stream key. But work towards that, because I promise you, getting a TikTok stream key, it will grow your audience exponentially faster than honestly anything else. I mean, give you guys an example. My last 5 TikTok lives, I think I've combined for 3,200 followers across all of them.
It's insane.
Over 1.2 million likes.
It's insane.
And I think
Dude,
about 25,000 views across the board, across them all. So
you're streaming nude Call of Duty, bro. That's why. That's the reason. That's exactly what's going on. Tell them the truth.
It's the feed pics. That's what it is. I got a feed cam that's right beneath my desk. We had shout out to Blue Thunder, man. We We had him on,
Dude.
you know, a month ago or so, and he gave some really great advice. If you guys, once again, if you guys are not following Blue, I mean, the man
Absolutely.
blew up very quickly. He knows exactly what he's talking about, and he had a great line where he said, you know, we talked about TikTok Live, and he said, you know, he made the TikTok Live about the stream, not about his gameplay, and
Yes.
that really stuck with me. And I was like, you know what, like you know, once again, I have some technical knowledge on how to do some of this stuff. So I was like, you know what, I can do this. I can make it stand out and be different than everybody else. And so I've been able to do that and you know, capitalize on it. And it's honestly, I've had incredible growth since then, and 100%. I mean, if you get an opportunity to stream on TikTok Live, even just like Samson said, just a face cam. If you just if you get to 1,000 followers and you stream just on a face cam while you're live, or maybe even before you live, you know, maybe an hour before, half hour before you go live, engage with your audience and say, hey, you know what, I'm about to go live, but I'm hanging out with you guys on TikTok Live. We're gonna have a conversation. That right there in itself is huge, because you're just engaging with that community that might not be following you on Twitch, and then you know, you end it right like, hey, I'm gonna go live on Twitch, but I would love to see you guys there, right? And now they're like intrigued. They're like, hey, you know what? I want to go check out this person's Twitch and go give them a follow. And clearly, I like their content on TikTok. Clearly, this person's putting it, you know, live and hanging out with us. I'm gonna go check them out on Twitch. So utilize TikTok Live. It is an incredible tool to grow your audience.
And I'm so glad you brought up Blue Thunder, because I was going to say something. I remember, you know, I was always like fighting to get up to him, because I was like, okay, I'm at 18,000 followers. He just hit 30. I'm on my way. And then, like you said, he did the huge experience, out of control TikTok Live, double tapping that screen to see your name cranking. No lie, within like weeks, I saw him at 200,000 TikTok followers. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Oh,
I was like, man, it would be nice, dude. Like, he did it. He got it.
Bro, he did the and the other tip that he talked about was the going live viral video before you go live, right? And I did that too, and same thing. Like, I had one of them pop off to 80,000 views, another one was I think 25,000, another one was 5,000, right? You really have to incentivize people to going into your TikTok Live. And once again, I think I'm gonna do a TikTok on this, but you can't just sit there and say, hey everybody, I'm live on Twitch right now, come hang out.
No,
like, nobody cares about that, right? Nobody's gonna come visit you. Nobody's gonna click that live button. What's in it for them, right? And so once again, you know, shout out to Blue Thunder, man. He's got he said what he said, and it like sparked something in my brain. I was like, yo, I know how to do this. I can do it in a very unique way to you know, gravitate or get an audience attention and come into, you know, my TikTok.
No, that's huge. That's huge. And now he has Dane Cook streaming on Twitch
right?
with him,
Dane Cook, 12,000 viewers, bro.
Nuts.
Dude, actually, I'm sorry, 13. I think it was 13,000 viewers. What he has front page of Twitch.
I think what we're witnessing, guys, is somebody being so much better than us in every single regard that it's just so freaking impressive. But at the same time, you're not successful until you are, right?
Yes.
Like, Blue did not have this super massive, crazy start to everything. Although his start was a lot shorter than everybody else's was, and he ascended to the ranks of stardom a lot faster than a lot of us do. It doesn't always start out that way, right? Like, Samson didn't always have a gym on a mountaintop. He had a vision for what he wanted. You got to start out with knowing what you want to do and figure out and stumble and fail along the way to get to where you're going. Okay, that's, I think, what we can see from every single person, every single streamer, every single content creator's journey is that it is riddled with, oh, that didn't work, let's try something else, right? Like, it's a ton of different trial and error things, but the problem is everybody sees the success and nobody sees the error along the way. And that is, you can learn more from seeing somebody's errors along the way and how they recover for it than just looking up at the top and seeing the success and you're like, God, that's super, super cool. And I know I joke a lot, and like, you know, I I joke with Blue Thunder a lot when he was on here, just kind of like how he's waving down at us or whatever. But it's like, you know, it's all about, you know, the slow and steady pace. The majority of us have a slow and steady journey to get up. And it's like, the very cool thing about this is you get little nuggets of stuff along the way that's like successes. So like, you know, Dad, you were growing very slowly on TikTok. And then all of a sudden it's like, you're trying different things. You're trying, this doesn't work, that doesn't work. Well, maybe this video kind of does well. And then boom, the TikTok Live hits. and you get this nugget and you run with it as far as it goes until you find something else. And then you
Yep.
add that to the little bushel of gold nuggets you have, and it just slowly and steadily gets you up to the top. And I think what everything that Samson is doing right now, between the merch and being relatable in the fashion of games and gains with people, because a lot of dudes love, and girls, a lot of dudes and girls love video games, and they love working out, and it's
Yeah.
all, they're watching you better yourself along the way, and they're getting inspired by that, which makes them hit that like button, which I think is so freaking important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's such a Samsung is in such a unique space in terms of like the multi niche, right? You know, I've so many content creators and streamers who are out there giving advice. I was like niche down, right? Which is highly important. You stay within your niche. But there was a couple comments on our TikTok this past week, and people were talking about, oh, you know, like I said, like they enjoy doing fitness and gaming. But then, you know, you kind of look at their content and they're not necessarily merging together and making it one, right? You
Sure.
want your viewers that are maybe into fitness to kind of have an interest into the gaming side, right?
Yeah.
And you did a stream recently where you did a bunch of
Was it the hack squats?
no, it was it the squats, dude? How many squats did you
Yes.
do?
So I legit did 69 squats. Like I wasn't even counting yet until afterwards. I had to go watch the film. I was like, of course it'd end up like that.
Of course it do, dude.
It was what was
Yeah.
the parameters for it? You had to do
Yeah, so I had to do. I pulled my hack squat machine that's right behind me, and I
Yeah.
had to move like all my desk and machines
Oh,
that
of
were
course.
behind me to get it over here. And so, you know, I only put 10s on each side because I was like, this could go on for forever. And the machine itself, I think, is like 45 or 60 pounds. So there's a little bit of weight on there. And I
Sure.
was like, you know what? I'm going to start hack squatting right when I get into character selection. And I'm
Mhm.
going to hack squat until I get a double kill. Well, guess what? This was the worst mistake I could have made. It was during community night, which means, hey, I'm 5 stacking
Oh,
playing competitive games
no. Oh, no.
with people in the community. So they saw my title on Twitch, like, oh, he's hack squat until he gets a double kill. We'll see about that.
Yeah,
I'm telling you,
exactly.
they were completely sabotaged. Like one of the rounds, I had ran into the corner to start the round, and one of my buddies came and ran in front of my character and got me stuck in the corner. So I couldn't move the entire round. So I was just sitting there. I was like, bro, I can't move. He's like, I got you this entire round. So they were just completely sabotaging the entire time. And I did it, you know, that video's at, I think, 800,000 views from a couple days ago. And it actually did really well. We got a great response from it. So I
Yeah.
did it again for shoulder press on Wednesday. So we're now making it a challenge. Like, all right, I'm going to get 4 guys from my community every single week, and they're going to try to sabotage my game as hard as they can. And I'm going to have challenges set out every week.
Bro, that
And
sounds like a TikTok live viral video right there.
yes,
That's
bro.
literally what it sounds like.
Yes,
Dude,
you're
that's
spot on.
that's exactly what I just, you know, mentioned this last week, or I think maybe I did a TikTok about it. I can't remember at this point, but the finding a way to add interactions
Yes.
with your community in your
Massive.
space, right?
Yeah.
And people love it. You know what I'm saying? Like you're going to get far more engagement out of, you know, doing something like that than you ever will getting, you know, X amount of kills, X amount of team wipes, wins, nukes, whatever you want to call it. You are going to get way more engagement from your community, and honestly, even new viewers, as Samson's just talking about getting 800,000 views, right? Than you ever will doing
Yeah.
anything else. If you can find a way for your community and your viewers to engage with you in your space in real time, live as you stream.
That's big, dude. That's, you got to become big. Like, you got to become bigger than the game you're playing. And you, like you said, you were playing Valorant, Samson. So it's like, how many other streamers are playing Valorant? It's one of the top 5 games at Twitch at all times. So how do you then separate your stream to be different and unique than anyone else's stream? I guarantee you that night nobody was hack squatting while they were playing Valorant.
I
Not
And I
guarantee
can
you.
tell you, it's not because my gameplay. I'll share that much. They ain't watching
See, I'm the
that.
same boat.
yes. So if you can figure out a way to do that,
Yes.
then you got it. And you're finding, like I said, you're finding these little things that are going to make you successful in the long run, and you're just learning it as you go. And eventually, and I don't want to sound like you're not being successful now. You're being extraordinarily successful, but snowballing on these events and these
Yes.
ideas is only going to be bigger and better. Can you imagine, bro? Can you imagine where you're going to be in December? Like,
Yeah,
that's what's
another
really, really
12 months,
crazy.
you know.
Yeah, you keep this going, And it's like in December, bro, that who knows? The
I'm
sky's the limit at this
I'm
point.
telling you, again, I'm a big business oriented individual, so I'm always talking about goals, metrics, while maintaining the fun aspect and saying, okay, let's not lose sight of why we did this.
Yeah,
Hey, if I was in this for the money, I would have stuck to home building. I'm going to
Sure.
be
Yeah,
completely
yeah.
honest with you guys.
sure.
I would have stuck to home building. There's something greater in this that first and foremost, I love getting people healthy. I love the aspect of saying, hey, there's such a need, especially within the gaming realm, for the healthy side of things to be incorporated.
Sure.
So that's first and foremost. Second most, like Twitch, yes, it's cool to stream your gameplays. But let's be honest, people are going on there to build relationships, build communities, build friendships, and for entertainment.
Mhm.
And it's like for me to sit here and say, "Hey, I'm just gonna play games," and I expect you guys to be here and watch me play games
Nope.
like that. That's absurd. That's absurd.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and so this year, I sat down with Joel and I was like, "All right, Joel," and I had a number in my head. I said, "Okay, we're gaining about 1,000 followers a day on TikTok right now." I said, so if I incorporate that and I look at this year, I would love to be, hey, Joel, our goal is 350,000 by the end of the year on TikTok. And he's like, how I'm going to be completely honest with you. If we don't hit 1 million, we failed. I was like,
That is
holy
insane.
crap.
That is
Flips,
insane.
bro.
Yeah. And
Insane.
so I was like, Joel, let's pump the brakes a little bit. But no, he's and that's the cool thing, like we're always talking about, surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals. He's a go-getter, he is motivated.
Mhm.
And here in the near future, we had talks this last week to give you guys a little insight. An individual that Joel worked previously an editor for shorts on YouTube for the big YouTuber. We had interviews with them this last week. So
Nice.
there's a possibility to have a third person in here. And I'm like, you know what? Exactly what Dad said. Once it starts picking up steam, use it and snowball off of it. And it's like,
Mhm.
okay, let's do that. Let's test a bunch of different videos, see what works. But
Yep.
we're finding that niche that people are really starting to like. And it's like, hey, there is opportunity there. And it's like, if you don't have that moonshot goal, then why are you doing this? Gotta go
100%.
big or go home.
All right, so guys, here's the deal. We are going to wind the podcast down. It has been an absolute pleasure to have Samson on the podcast. It's been so much fun, so insightful. You're going to see this guy in December with 1 million TikTok views. He's going to be
No doubt.
really close, if not Twitch partner already. It is going to be absolutely bananas. So, Samson, so people can watch this whole journey happen, where can they find you? What are your socials, man?
My socials are SamsonJC22, and you can find that on YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram. Those are the big 4 platforms that I'm on. But most importantly, like, this was an awesome episode. Dad, where can we go catch this episode and watch this entire thing?
Hey, if you guys aren't following Live Button Podcast on YouTube, if you guys are listening to this on YouTube, make sure you guys check us out on Spotify. We're on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, TikTok. By the way, video coming out for passing 1,000 followers on TikTok. We appreciate that, everybody. That's awesome.
Let's go.
And then you guys can find myself, twitch.tv/DadTheGamer, spelled GAM3R. Everything else is DadTheGamer. I'm on Twitch, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram somewhat. I'm not very active on it. I should be more. But
Shame.
yeah, I know, right? Pastor, where can they find you, man?
Yeah, dude. So you can find me at Pastorgainz at Twitch. And then handle is the same for everywhere else. I am Pastorgainz on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, I already said TikTok. So everything. And then if you're interested in Elden Ring content, because apparently that's the niche
Yes.
I've fallen into, and
Bro, you're blowing up.
no one on TikTok knows about it, is Elden Ring content, which is Pastorgainz Games over on YouTube. The channel is doing astounding. I'm super excited about it. So definitely excited about that. So guys, that is all we had planned for you this evening. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, night, or afternoon, whichever time you are listening. And until next time, we'll see you in the next episode.
Later, guys.